Mhm, mhm. And hello and welcome to AM Language. This is the afternoon session at 2 o'clock, and we are going to be looking at upper intermediate material, things you need. If any of you are advanced who are watching, let me know so I can add some things in for you as well. I'm just going to share the lesson. And it's shared. Excellent. So more people should be joining. Oh, bless me. Oh. So, I hope you all had a good morning. In this afternoon session, we are going to be looking at Unit 3. I'm going to put that down there. We're going to be looking at Unit 3 of outcomes, and specifically at things you need. And in this lesson, we are going to be looking at the following. First of all, we're going to be looking at, as always, we'll broaden and develop our range of vocabulary, but we'll also look at grammar. The grammar side of things that we'll be looking at is something to do with explaining the purpose, explaining purpose using so, if, and to. So this is in order to help us explain something as well. Not only that, I think it's also a really good opportunity to look at some aspects of developing our range of vocabulary when looking at something called a suffix. A suffix is to do with the way a word ends, the type of ending in a word, and knowing if the word is a noun, an adjective, an adverb, a verb, and as well as, let's say you learn one word and you learn the verb of a word, and then discovering if the verb also, the same spelling, the word also exists as a noun, for example. For these sort of things, when you have a word with the same spelling but different meanings, there we're looking at a category of language called like homonyms, for example. And this tails off into using more different ranges of vocabulary. If needs be, and if we have time, we'll also have a little look at some more grammar, but in this case, we're going to look at the modal verb should. So should and should have, should have. Why would we be using this language? What's the purpose of it? So we'll have there's a lot that we can go through. There's a lot we can cover, but at the same time, we'll take it a little bit. Well, we'll see how it goes. We only have 2 people so far, so I'm expecting more people to join shortly. But in the meantime, let's begin. So the first thing is, if you do have the book, it's on page 26, Unit 3, Upper Intermediate Outcomes. The title that you can see here is Making Do on page 26. To make do with something. And that's what we're specifically looking at, to make do with something. Now, there's a number of ways that we can look at this term, to make do with something, or making do with something. Like, for instance, here it's got in question 1, it's got a question: are there any things you've never used? Why? Which of the objects do you use? Do you have any of these things on you now? Which of the things did you not know in English before? So what are we really talking about? Well, when you make a do with something, it means you're trying to do something, but you might not have the best tools. You might not have the best equipment to do what you need to do. but you will make do, meanings you will continue to do the activity with the tools you have. It would be a bit like, um, let's say, home gym at the moment. Now, in your home, if you're trying to exercise, you don't have a gym, you don't have gym equipment, you don't have weights, you don't have many things, but you've got some space. You might have a mat. You might have one or two little things that you can use when doing exercise. But nonetheless, even though you don't have the option to go to the gym, you will make do doing exercise at home, meaning you will still try and do the tasks that you need to do, even though you have limited equipment. And that's what we're really looking at here. In terms of aspects of any language at this point, um, I would say there's not really a great deal amount worth looking into. We'll just quickly look at some of the things. Um, if you're going to make a do with something in the office, well, you might make a do with an old computer, but it still works. Kitchen, okay, you might not have the best kitchen in the world, but you can make do with a basic kitchen as long as you can still work. Cook. You've got clothes. Okay, you might not have the best clothes. You might not have the best shirt. But if you're going on a date, you can make do with some clothing that you have that can still make yourself look presentable and good. DIY. Well, I'm not very good at DIY. In fact, I'm terrible at DIY. I mean, I would like to be better at DIY, if I'm being honest. At university, I tried to put up a TV and a shelf. Actually, I tried to put a shelf up at university. I needed to drill into the wall 4 holes. I ended up drilling 12 holes, and I still couldn't get the shelf up. So my DIY skills are not great. We then have first aid. And this is a good example. You can make do with a limited equipment in order to give someone first aid. As we know, you can stop bleeding with your shirt, for example. You can, out of your tops, for instance, if someone hurts their arm, you can make a sling. So you can make do with very little. Um, and this is effectively what we're looking at when we're looking at make do. Um, Let me know in the comment section what you're making do with at the moment. Making do with. Maybe you want to tell me how what you're making do with as far as exercise is concerned, eating, socializing. So, for example, we can't meet people face to face at the moment, but we can make do with online. We can have a lesson through YouTube, for example. You can talk to your family on Skype or FaceTime or WhatsApp. So you can make do with these apps, for example, that can help you still speak to the people that you want to speak to. So what else? I think we've explored the term make do for now. So let's look at the grammar. You've got explaining purpose using so, if, and to. So if we look at, we're just going to look at the exercise 3 here as well. There's something, what we need to look at is how they use so, if, and to when we try to use explaining the purpose. So we have to look at the grammar structure. Now, just to give you an idea, in exercise 3, what we have here is, let's start off with so, okay? So here it says, so you can mend a rip in your clothing. So you can rip a mend in your clothing. We've got if. If there's a crack in your roof and it's leaking. we've got 2, to wash and hang up your clothes to dry. This is linked, by the way, to page 188, which shows you the other part of the question as well. So if we look at the other half of the question, what the idea was here on page 88, 188, is that you needed to look closely at what do you need. So, for instance, to tie things together. Well, what can you make do with? Well, if you do have your book open and you can turn to page 188, you can see to tie things together, you can make do with a rope. You might be able to make do with a wire as well. If you look at to put up a poster or notice, you can see on page 88, you've got, let's see, well, maybe a hammer would be helpful. Maybe let's see, something sticky. Yeah, sellotape. That would be another thing. To wash and hang up clothes to dry. Here you've got, let's see, what do we have? I saw it just now. Yeah, clothes peg, for example. You can make do with a clothes peg. If there's a crack in your roof and it is linking, there you need some kind of sealer. Let's see. Looking at this, well, you might need a drill, you might need a saw, you might need a screw. I can't see, no, I can't see anything else for now. There probably is something else there that I could use. And finally, so if you can mend a rip in your clothing, this is going to be the needle and thread. So if we turn back, look back at the sentence at exercise 3, notice how so, if, and to were used when explaining purpose, which was followed by, first of all, an infinitive without to. So if you're going to use an infinitive without to, this is when you would use words like so and if. The subject plus verb is when you have like this is when you're going straight into like to wash, to put. And then you've got the problem you want to solve as well. If you're looking at which is followed by the problem you want to solve, so you can mend a rip. If there's a crack in your roof, wash. Yeah. So there you're saying can mend. You're looking at a modal verb. So let's have a look at see how we can use this language a little bit better. If I'm being totally honest, I think this is one area where I don't think the book provides a fantastic example. So I need some tape to put up posters on the wall, just to let you know. So for A, the answer is I need some tape to put up posters on the wall. B, can I have a cloth so I can wipe the table? It's a thing you can put on your heel if your shoe's rubbing. So let me explain, because effectively, I think I can give you some better examples than what we have here. So let's say you're talking about, first of all, we need to think of what we need to do. So we always have an option of if. Let me just write. We've got an option of if, so, and to. So the first thing we need to look at is the word collocation. What are we asking ourselves to do? Well, it's quite simple. If the main aspect of your sentence that you need to complete is with a verb in its infinitive form, you're going to use to. So, for example, I need, let's say, so I need a computer to give YouTube lessons. Okay, so this would be one example of explaining something. I need a computer to give YouTube lessons. We need, or yeah, we need to, sorry, we need a something. So let's say we need a phone to call home. Can you think of another example? Um, we need um, we need glasses to see better. So here the structure is you're stating what you need plus to verb, your main verb to do, the action you want to do, the action you need to do, plus why. So that's the first thing that you need to make sure you guys do. You need to state, if you're going to use the to, we need a phone, we need a house, we need a satellite, we need books, we need something to do something. We need something to do something. We need our subject to do our object, basically. So let's have a little look at how we can use this. Let's say you have a charger, a phone charger, okay? A phone charger. A phone charger. And it breaks. And so you can't charge your phone. Can you guys try and complete this sentence for me? We need a to so we need a blank to the phone. What we can do here is this is a verb and a noun. The same is, so we need a verb and we need a noun. And the base word is charge. So you need the noun. Sorry, we need. Sorry, I've got it the wrong way round. What you need is a noun plus a verb. Your base word that you need to think about is the word charge. So we need something to something the phone. Now, both of these words that we're looking at has the word charge in it. I'll give you about 20 seconds. Hello, Nadia. Lovely to see you again. A charger to charge. Perfect. Excellent. And that is the answer. We need a charger to charge the phone. And that's how we use it. That's all we need. You need to say or something to do something. Excellent. Well, I think we've looked at the to bit. Let's look at the so. Okay, so let's say we go with this. Can we have something to, can we have something so we can do something? So this is how we can use so. For example, can we have a charger so we can charge the phone? So that's, again, we're talking about charging and charging a phone. And this is how we use it. So instead of, after you've gone with the noun, instead of going with to charge, you can go with so. so we can, so they can, so I can, so he can, so she can. Can we take the bus so we can go to the supermarket, for example? Question mark. And that's all it is. That's how we're using it. We're using it, this grammar form, in terms of explaining the purpose of something. We're using to link ideas together. So once again, I'm going to give you an incomplete sentence, and I would like you guys to try and complete the sentence for me. So if I think of an example, see, okay, let's go with that. Okay, so we've got here, can you blank me some more soap, blank, don't run out. I would like you guys to complete this sentence for me. We're thinking about so here, and we also need another verb. So I'll give you again about 30 seconds or so. Can you tell me what you need to put in this sentence in order to complete it? Ugh, my tea is cold now. So can you blank me some more soap, blank, don't run out. That should be we don't run out, actually. Sorry. Can you bring me some more soap so we don't run out? Yep, Nadia, that's good. We could use bring, we could use get, we could use buy, and then we link it with so we don't run out. You are right to think if we use it, then it would be so it doesn't run out. Just remember that it goes with doesn't. But in this case, I was going for, it's my fault because I forgot the pronoun. So I was going for we don't run out. But excellent, Nadia. That's really good. Well done. Okay, so finally, let's go with if. Let's see. Let's say it's okay. This is the next one. It's an app you use, you get lost. So here we're not asking a question. We're telling we're saying what a person what a person can use, and here we're looking to use if as well. Here we're looking to use if. So let's see what your guys answer there, and once we've done that, we can then move on to the next section. If. Can and if. Well done, Nadia. You are correct. Yes, excellent. Well done. Yes. So it's an app you can use if you get lost. Excellent. It's a good suggestion, and that's what we're looking at. It's a suggestion. This is what you can use if you get lost. Okay. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think we need to worry too much about the rest of it. I think here, is there anything else on this page that is a must know for this lesson today? Yeah, I think we can look at some vocabulary as well when trying to explain some things. We have to look at some generic language. By generic, I mean general language that we use when we're trying to explain something that we're using, that we might be using, that we might need as well. So the type of language that here we would be looking at would be, one moment, I'm just going to write it down what my answers would be as well, and I'll try and explain as we go along. All right, good. So we've got, for example, that stuff, it's a bit like chewing gum or something. So this is not very accurate in terms of description. We've got stuff, which are basically things, a bit like, which simply means similar. Then we've got our object, plus or plus something. Okay, so this is when we're trying to explain. We don't really know the right words, or maybe it's not very specific, and we're trying to explain ourselves. This would be specifically with like a technology or DIY, for example. So that stuff, okay, we would need to know what stuff is. Maybe it's let's talk about soap, for example. So that stuff, meaning this is the subject. In this case, it's going to be soap. That stuff. It's a bit like, let's see if it's soap. It's a bit like shampoo. A bit like shampoo or something. So that stuff, it's a bit like shampoo or something. It means I don't know if it is shampoo, but it's similar to shampoo. And it's something that cleans, that you can wash with. And that's what we're talking about there. The stuff, it's a bit like shampoo, for example. That stuff, it's a bit like pasta or something. You can always replace that stuff with that thing. That thing, it's a bit like a TV or something. So yeah, that's how we're using it. We're just simply trying to tell the other person what we are talking about when we don't fully know. You can also use it with songs. That song, it's a bit like Bohemian Rhapsody or something. That song, it's a bit like AC/DC or something. That song, it's a bit like Adele or something. So we can use this for many different things. Um, Again, you can even use it with food as well. So, for instance, that dish, it's a bit like a ripas or something, or that dish. It's a bit like chicken noodles or something. Um, so yeah, this is when we're trying to describe something, and we ourselves are not 100% sure what it is that we are trying to talk about. So the next one. Um, so we can say that stuff. It's a bit like chewing gum or something. They have a sort of clip thing that opens and shuts. Okay, yeah. So this is again, you don't really know what something is. You can see how it works, but you don't know what to call it. You don't know how it works. You might not even know if it's important or not. But when you say they have a sort of clip thing that opens and shuts. What you're saying is they have this thing, And we can just call it thing. If you don't know what something is in English, you can call it a thing. That opens and shuts, opens and shuts, opens and shuts. Um, if we were to change this around, we could say that they have um, let's say uh, they have a bar. They have a bar thing that they have a bar thing. No, let's go with a different thing. I'm not using a good enough example. They have a phone. They have a phone thing that turns on and off. Again, they have a phone thing that turns on and off. They have a computer that switches on and off. They have a car that turns on and off, for example. So yes, it's very vague. Next. So when you're trying to find out what the person is talking about, and they come up with this, like they have a phone thing that turns on and off, and you might say, what? You mean, and whatever they might be talking about. So if this was to do with phones, for example, and you're saying they have a phone thing that turns on and off, you might say, what? You mean, and then you might say, what? You mean a switch on and off button? If it's about a clip, you might say, what? What? You mean in blue track, whatever blue track is. Oh, blue tack, sorry, blue tack. Yeah, they have a sort of thing, a clip that opens and shuts. Oh, what you mean? Let's see, case, maybe, for example. Now, how do you say this in terms of an intonation? Well, if you think you know what they're talking about, and you want to check that that is exactly what they're talking about, you go, what? You mean a case? What? You mean a case? What? You mean a case? What? You mean a switch on and off button? What? You mean a switch on and off button? 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 Um, what they have a phone thing that turns on and off. So that's how we use it. You have to go up and down. You're trying to show some kind of surprise. And yes, even if you don't know what you're talking about, you can say, if you don't know what the person is talking about, you can say, what? You mean the thing you use to connect yourself? So let's say someone is trying to talk about the internet, but they can't remember the name internet. So they might be saying, "Oh, you know that, oh, that sort of thing you have, so you can go on the internet." Uh, I can't remember. So you might say, "What? You mean the thing you use to connect yourself to the internet?" Yes. Oh, what you mean Wi-Fi? Yes, that's what I mean. Um, to give you another example, um, let's say we are going to say that stuff. It's a bit like something sticky or something like that. You can put in your hair, and you might say, "What? You mean hair products?" Yes, I mean hair products. Oh, you mean gel? You mean hair gel? Yes, that's what I mean. So that is all we are talking about when we are talking about explaining and checking. Intonation plays a really, really big part. So I'm going to write a sentence here, and I would like to see if you can give me the response to it. The response to it. So we can say, um, "What's that thing? What's that thing you use so you can turn on the TV?" So you can turn on the TV or something. Okay, so that's my question to you guys. Using what you mean, or what do you mean? What you mean the thing you need to turn the television on? So I would like you to see if you can respond to that question. So the question is, what's that thing you use so you can turn on the TV or something? So you guys can respond, and I will look to see how you choose to respond. I'll give you a minute to see if you can respond. Nadia, thank you very much. What? You mean a remote? Excellent, fantastic, perfect, Nadia. Well done. Don't forget, remote with a small r, but that is the correct answer. So well done, Nadia. Excellent stuff. And that's all it is. Um, yeah, that's all it is actually. So with that, we can turn over the page, and we can now spend a little bit of time just looking at something called word families. Word families. Now, with word families, you have prefixes, you have suffixes. A prefix, oh, let's see. What? You mean the thing you. So Nadia has also commented, what? You mean the thing you use to change channel? Excellent, excellent answer, Nadia. Perfect. Well done. 100% to you, full marks. Um, so, with the next bit, we're going to look at some suffixes. Now, a suffix is a bit of a word that comes at the end. And we need to be able to see if we know if the word, how we can use these suffixes. Now, first of all, it asks, so here we are on page 28, and we are looking at question 7, and it's asking us which words end with these suffixes and then answer the question below. So the question below is, which of these suffixes normally form nouns? So, for instance, here you've got the following options. You have al, eos, ism, lessness, ion, eyes, itty, meant, and e as well. So, number 1, page 28, question number 7, number 1. Which of these suffixes normally forms nouns? Well, the ion is related to tion, so that's why we can have something like station. Okay, so ion is usually linked to being a noun. Which kind of words do these other suffixes form? What kind of words do these other suffixes form? Okay, so everything else on this page is usually forms some kind of adjective. So let's go through and let's see. So let's look at let's see, itty. Let's start off with itty. No, not that one. Um, it does change sometimes. I don't think there's an actually exact answer here for the other ones because, for instance, meant can form a noun as well, like appointment. document. So meant is also used a lot as a noun. Ness, loneliness, that's also a noun. Less, um, hopeless. It is hopeless, comfortless. Uh, yes, no, less is probably more of an adjective. Um, I'll. Let's see. Controllable. No, that's not the right one. Owl. Um, most of these are nouns. Some of these are nouns, really. Well, let's go through and let's see. So, number one, we're going to look at 8. Let's see if we can discover some things. So, look at the underlined words and find the noun forms in the blog post. Complete 1 to 8. So, what we have here, most of these suffix endings that we can see above are going to form nouns. So be obsessed or have an obsession. Obsession. Okay. So that would be number 1 to question 8. So 8-1. I'm going to put 8-1. Obsession. Obsession. If you don't know what obsession is when you are always thinking and talking about the same thing. They tried to evict him. Okay. Now, evict. Evict is if you are evicted. If you are evicted from a place, it means you're told to leave the place. So you could be evicted from your apartment. This is when you are asked to leave the apartment you are renting. Now, the noun version of evict is eviction. Eviction. Number 3. Cautious. So he's cautious. He is cautious. At this point, cautious is we're using the IUS. This is an adjective here. Or show great caution. Caution. So now we can see the adjective form, the noun form of cautious is caution. Caution. Cool. Caution. Number 4, we have I'm afraid or overcome my. This is fear. So if you are afraid to overcome my fear. So that's what I would say here. Let's see. Is there afraid? No, I think this is an exception. Afraid. Number 3. Number 4. I would just put down fear, but I must be missing something. I don't think I am. Maybe I am. No, I think 4 is just fear. I mean, I wouldn't say overcome my. No, afraid. No, no. That's an exception, unless if I'm missing something. Number 5, he's well intentioned or have good intentions. Intentions. Now, when you use the term intentions, intentions is when you are you want to do you're thinking good thoughts. You want to do something good. That is what good intentions are. Optimistic, be full of optimism. This is an ism here. Optimism. So optimism. So optimism is the answer to question 6. The thing about optimism is that this is when you think, or you tell yourself something good will happen, um, or you think a better result will happen than what the reality is. But you're thinking positively. Seven, he's really mean. Seven, he's really mean. Or it's, let's see. You know what? I'm not so sure about this one. No, I'm not sure about this one, and I am not convinced at all. I would have to look the answer up. To number seven, I'm going to have to. Oh, that's because I'm looking at pure. Sorry. Uh, it's pure mean. So he's really mean. It's pure mean. That's the word. Okay, right. I was looking at a different word. Let's see. It's pure. Hmm, no, I don't know. Actually, yes, I do know. I do know. Sorry. There we go. Meanness. 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 It's pure meanness. It's a bit of a strange one because we wouldn't really say that. We do, but it's not normal. We'd probably go with a different word. It's pure. Like if something's really mean, we were more likely to say it's like pure evil or something like that. Pure meanness. It's not a word I personally use on an everyday basis. Like it's pure evil. It's pure wickedness, for example. But pure meanness. It's not the first word I would use. He's pessimistic despite the pessimism. So that's the last one. Pessimism. Pessimism. That is the opposite to being optimistic. That's the opposite to optimism. Okay. So let's go through one or two things here. So most of those words, what we're looking at here are the different nouns, and that's one of the things that we need to look at. Now, when you are going to try and use this language here, when you're looking at these nouns, you need to think: do I need an article before using them? How can I use them? Is it going to be the object of my sentence? Is it going to be the subject of my sentence? So these are the things that you need to find out, that you need to know. So let's have a look. Obsession. It's an obsession. Um, so there it's the object. If we're going to make it as the subject, the obsession is too much. So if I'm going to use obsession, if I need an article either at the beginning, the, or if it's the object of the sentence, an. Now the thing with obsession is, uh, I don't think obsession is usually a healthy thing. In fact, I think obsession can be quite unhealthy. So next one, eviction. So he got an eviction, or the eviction was passed. If we are going with the passive form, again, that's how we can do it. If we're using this as a noun, we've got an article an before we use the noun as the object, or we've got the if it's going to be at the start. Let's go with again, caution. Let's see. I The usual word with caution is actually take. To take caution. To take caution. Okay, so that's something I would say that it's important to remember. When you're going to use the word caution, usually it's take caution. Um, yeah, take caution. You need to take caution. So if we're going to use this particular noun, we're going to use the word take with it. Let's see, what else? We've got, okay, still unsure about what fear is meant to be here in this context. And next one, intention. It's probably something really obvious and I just haven't thought of it. So then we've got intentions. So we can say he has good intentions. So there we can use the adjective and noun. Same with bad intentions. Your intentions. So this is how we are going to usually use the word. We're going to link it to that type of language, especially like a pronoun when we're talking about intentions. Let's see what's next. Um, the next one. We've got optimism. So your optimism is amazing. The optimism might leave us if we something. It's a kind of optimism, maybe like that. So in this context, again, when we use the word optimism, we're usually talking about someone's optimism. Um, like your optimism is healthy, your optimism is unhealthy, your optimism is encouraging. Number 7, meanness. Um, the meanness of the situation, or yeah, I think that's actually a good example. The meanness of the opera, operation, or it's pure meanness. It's extremely meanness. Yes, we could use that, but again, though, I have to say I'm not keen on the word of my when using that type of language. I probably tend to go with a slightly different word. Pessimism, same as optimism. Your pessimism is going to hurt us. Your pessimism is going to save us. Your pessimism is too much. Your, my, her, she. We need to use these pronouns with pessimism. And I think that's pretty much it there. Okay. So, guys, let me know if you have any questions about what we're looking at so far. What I would also say is while you are looking at this, because we're coming to the end of the lesson and I don't want to start something just yet without being able to finish. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do, one of the things we can look at tomorrow is using the modal verbs should and should have or should have, along with some of this new language. I think we can save that for tomorrow, for tomorrow's lesson, because today's Thursday. What I would ask you guys to do is please read I am Mr. Tribus. I am Mr. Tribus. Mr. Tribus in this is on page 29 of the Upper Intermediate. It's about an 8-year-old Polish war veteran. And he ended up in the news when his local council tried to force him out of his house in London because it had become a health hazard. Your local council is your local bit of government, basically. Now, I suggest you do read the article and you try to follow some of the questions as well. What you can do as well is when you read the article, I'm going to push it up here. When you read the text, what I would like you to do is, first of all, you will see a lot of this language. You will see like pessimism, for example. Um, you need to try and see how it's a great opportunity to see how the language is being used that we've just looked at. You would see obsession, for example, in the first sentence. Sorry, not the first sentence, the first paragraph, for example. You will see the word evict as well. So there's a lot of, you'll get to see how some of the words we've looked at can be used and can be used well in sentences as well as in a whole aspect of language, a whole text. So guys, if you do have any questions, let me know. Tomorrow we'll spend more time. This time we'll spend more time looking at should and should have, for example. If we have time, we'll have a little look at finding fault as well on page 30. I believe I'm tying it in with the likes of IELTS and up intermediate, so we'll have a look at that. So guys, later on today, I will be back later at 5 o'clock with an IELTS class. But you guys are welcome to join. You don't need to be an IELTS student to join the YouTube one, the YouTube video. That's because it's open, really. Thank you, Richard. Nadia, thank you very much. So, yes, please like and share the video. And if you like, you can join me later on today at 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, not 5. Please join me at 4 o'clock. And at 4 o'clock, we can look at things to do with IELTS as well. In particular, I'm going to look at, again, how we can build our language in a certain way. Irina says thank you as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. Much appreciated. It's always a little bit difficult without a board, especially when we're looking at different types of, looking at different types of language. You don't have the book with, for instance, you don't have the book with you. Sorry, I can't show you the book necessarily. What I'm looking at. I need to develop my YouTube live streaming skills in order to, so I could share my screen with you. So then we could all look at the same thing at the same time. But it is difficult when you don't have the actual book in front of you, if you or on the screen. So it can be a little bit difficult. But nonetheless, guys, thank you so much for coming along. And I will see some of you later today at 4 o'clock. Bye for now.